If you get water and gas, it separates and sinks very quickly. And I used to have a little vial that we would use to test for alcohol in your oil or alcohol in your fuel. And you put in, it has a line. So you put water in this vial to the line, and then you fill the rest of it with gasoline. And then you shake it up and you set it on the table and you let it separate. If there's alcohol in it, the alcohol will combine with the water and your water level will increase. And you'll actually be able to physically see it. And I would use it because I could shake it up and set it, and as fast as you can set it down and step back, it'll separate. Water and gas, their specific gravity is a lot different. And they separate very readily, and it's easy to separate them. So if you have a gas tank that has water in it, or if you drain the tank into a pan and you tilt it on its side, the water will look like a BB, and it'll just run right down to the lowest point in the gas tank. So it's very easy to separate the two out and get rid of it. The problem with it, keep going, a couple of hazards you have. One, it's going to rust the tank. If you have metal lines, it can rust it. If it gets in the carburetor, it reacts with the aluminum and the metal that's in the carburetor, and it actually will pit the carburetor and causes an oxidation buildup in there, and it will ruin your carburetor. A little bit slower than problems with the diesel system, but it will do that slowly over time. If you have a metal bowl, it'll actually rust a hole in the bottom and you'll get a hole in the bottom of your bowl. If it's cold out, like today, and you're driving down the road or traveling it can cause ice to form in the line. If it settles in a low spot in the line, it could freeze. You drive along, all of a sudden it dies. You let it sit for a while, the heat from your engine melts it, then it runs for a while, then it dies. That's from ice. And you could put some heat, get some treatment, it's called heat or gasoline dryer, different things, and that will get rid of this. Keep going up. These are like the hazards that you're going to see. They're not extremely dangerous. They cause you conflicts and problems, but in rusting a tank, that can get expensive, or a carburetor. But other than that, it's not really a bad thing. If you get water in your diesel fuel, that's a problem. And in diesel fuel, if you put some water in a jar of diesel fuel and shake it up, and you come back tomorrow, most of it will be settled out. But I said most, I didn't say all of it. Because diesel fuel and water have very close specific gravities. And they say it stays in suspension a very long time. And that's why they tell you to drain your diesel fuel in the morning. So you go out there, it's settled all night, and you should drain the bottom of the tank. And almost every diesel machine has a drain cock either on the bottom of the tank or on the fuel system, like on the bottom of the fuel filter. And it's to get the water out, and you need to do it once it's sat for a long time, not after you've just came back from a trip or been out operating it. A couple of hazards. The biggest hazard that you're going to have is your fuel pump. Diesel fuel, or water in diesel fuel, has no lubricating value. And if you ever get a chance to see a diesel fuel pump taken apart, it's machined with zero tolerance. There are no seals in a diesel fuel pump. It uses the metal to metal and a light film of diesel fuel to seal it. And if you get water in there, there's no lubricating value, and it can cause that pump to seize up. It can cause the tank to rust. Same problem is up there, or the lines. If the water somehow gets through the filter and it gets through the fuel pump without seizing it, when it gets to the fuel injector and hits the tip on the fuel injector, it can actually blow the tip right off. The molecules of water are larger than the orifice on the diesel fuel tip. And in some cases, it'll actually just blow the tip right off. The other thing that happens is water, when it gets to that tip is really hot because it's in the combustion chamber. And when it gets there, it basically turns into steam really fast. And it expands. When it expands, that also is what causes it to blow the tip off.